Good morning, everybody. So we are glad that you are here to join us today. Um, we are going to be looking at the next steps of Google Classroom. So you can probably see me right now, but that's going to change in just a second because I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and you're going to be able to see my Google Classroom as we kind of step through things. I also have a co-presenter that is in the session today, and that is Anna Sexton, and she is going to be really helping to facilitate the chat feature that is available. So you're going to notice on the right side of your screen, probably kind of right up there, hopefully that's projecting right, there is a little chat button. And so we will use that to help facilitate questions throughout the time today. So if you have not already muted your mic, which I think everybody has, please go ahead and mute your mic. And if you have any questions as we are moving throughout the session today, you can drop those in the chat. Anna is going to be responding to things in the chat. And then if there is something that we need to kind of stop or pause and cover, she'll help facilitate that too. Before you leave today, I am going to post a link in the chat to a Google form, and that's how we will help record attendance for today. So that's how we're going to do attendance. Everybody's going to get credit for their learning today, and don't forget to complete that form before you leave, and we'll post that in the chat at the end of our time together. So this is going to be next steps in Google Classroom. Some of you, maybe all of you, attended one of the step 1 trainings with your academic technology coach before we launched the distance learning. If not, we're glad you're here either way. I'm Janet Winninghoff. I'm a middle school academic technology coach, and I support Bernal, Briscoe, Rawlinson, Ross, and Rudder. And I have Anna Sexton here, who is also a middle school academic technology coach. And she supports Folks, Jefferson, Jordan, Zachary, and Rayburn. And so we're happy to field all of your questions. And of course, if you see something in the session today and you're like, ooh, I'm going to need some additional supports on that, the coach that supports your campus is excited and ready to help you with that. So without any further ado, I am going to change my screen up, and we're going to jump right into Google Classroom. You might be toggling on your own Google Classroom and kind of looking at things. You might just be taking notes. You will notice over here in the screen, you may see that the record button is on. Today's session is being recorded, and so it records the video that's happening as well as a transcript of the chat. And so you'll get access to both of those after our session today. So don't worry if things feel like they're moving a little bit fast, you're going to be able to go back and rewatch all of this later. So I'm going to switch up our screen. And I'm going to present my window to you guys. And I'm going to change the layout. So we're going to see that spotlight piece. Okay, so we're going to jump right into Google Classroom, and you're going to see Google Classroom right here on my screen. And we are going to start by talking about organization. So especially for those of us that are newer to Google Classroom and we're still kind of learning some of the advanced features, one of the best ways to organize the work in Classroom in the classwork tab is to use topics. So right now I'm in Stream. When we open up Google Classroom, it opens up in the stream, and that's true for us and it's true for our students. And you might be surprised how many of your kiddos don't know to jump over here to the classwork tab. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in our session today. So I'm going to jump over here to classwork. And you're going to notice over here on the left-hand side of my screen, I have already a whole lot of what we call topics. Topics are just headers or ways that we can organize the work that we are posting for students. If we don't attach quizzes, assignments, materials, whatever we're posting in or underneath a topic, it's just going to land right up here at the top and it will just become a stream. That can be really tough for our kiddos to organize and to know, okay, this week I'm working on A, B, and C. So what I really like is the idea of creating topics that are by week and posting everything for that specific week underneath the topic. Okay. And so to create those topics, I'm going to come right up here to my create button. And I'm going to see that topic option. And they're super easy to make. And so I might say week of May 3rd through, actually it'll be May 4th, sorry. May 4th through the 8th. And let's say I'm going to go ahead and add that topic. So you're going to notice when I add a topic, any topic, it is going to land right up here at the top of my screen. So you might, like I did, go through and build out your topics ahead of time. You can always reorder your topics by clicking the 3 dots and then telling it to move up or down based on where you need that topic to go. I'm going to hide that so it's not in our way. So that's happening up or down. The other great thing is, let's say I come over here to the create button and I am creating that assignment. And I have attached all my stuff and I've assigned it where I want it to go. And I click that assign button. So you're going to notice I didn't attach it to a topic. And so where did it land? Right up here at the top of this screen. And again, that's not helping our kids with the organization piece, but don't worry. I can, on any assignment, click the 3 dots, edit it, and then I'm going to come right over here to topic. So you're going to notice you have a lot of options that always pop out on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'm going to click on topic. And let's say that's for the week of May 4th through the 8th. I'm going to save it. And so that link disappeared, or that assignment disappeared from this top view. And now it's slid right underneath here on, or underneath my topic view. So your topics, those are up to you in terms of naming conventions. When we were in the face-to-face classroom, I saw a lot of teachers either do by instructional unit. So we're doing the inquiry unit, or we're doing, myths and legends, whatever the case may be. Or I saw a lot of teachers do first 6 weeks, second 6 weeks, third 6 weeks. But right now, because we are posting so many things and all of our students work online, I strongly encourage you to think about a more finite way to use those topics. I myself really like the idea of doing it by week, so that students can stay really organized with knowing what they need to work on for that specific week. Okay, so let's kind of jump back over. We're talking about assignments, right? And so I'm actually going to switch my view and I'm going to come back over here to stream. So I want you to notice everything the way I have it set up right now. Everything is landing here in the stream. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of students aren't used to coming over here to that classwork tab. So the more you can emphasize that with them, the better. Putting little notes in classroom, if you're doing virtual class meetings with your students, reminding them, hey, you want to go to the classwork tab, you're really going to set them up for success. Because what a lot of our students are doing is accessing their assignments one of 2 ways. They're either going in through their student email, because every time an assignment is posted, they're getting the email, and so they're going in that way. Or they're coming here to the stream. So the way I have this set up right now in terms of settings, everything is landing in the stream. So both general announcements are landing here in the stream, and also you're going to see, like right here, I have an assignment. But like all streams, social media wise, the most recent post is going to be up here at the top. So if my kiddos are accessing their work through the stream, that means that they're scrolling to find the things that they need. And they may not be completing everything that I have attached or need them to do for a week. So one way to kind of help deter them from accessing their assignments in the stream is actually to change the settings on that. So you're going to notice I'm going to, right up here in the top right corner of my screen, there is a cog wheel, and I'm going to click that. The class details, this is managed by Lilsis, Lilsis. This is the program that creates and maintains our Google Classrooms for us. And if we were to change any of those names or anything here in the class description, it will revert back to the standard naming convention the following day. But I can make changes down here underneath the general settings, and those changes will stick from day to day. So you're going to notice here, there is an option that says classwork on the stream. So I'm going to hide those notifications. And when I do that, the kiddos are not going to see the classwork in the stream anymore. And I'm going to need to make sure that I come right up here to the top right corner and save. It's not all the time that we have a save button in Google, so I always like to point that out. Sometimes things auto save for us, and then sometimes they don't, or there's a save button. And so just know that there is a save button here when you change that feature. Another thing to just kind of be aware of with the stream, right above that, there's a stream option. And the default is that the students can post and comment. That stream really should be just kind of running conversation or announcements that you need the kids to have. And so we'll talk about what some of those things might be in just a second. Just know that the default on is that the students can post and comment, but your other options are that the students can only comment. So let's say I make a post, the students can leave a comment on my post. And then the last option is only the teacher can post or comment. And again, we are just referring to the stream on that. So I'm going to tell that to save. And it's going to land me back in my stream. And you're going to notice what happened to all of those assignments that were visible here in the stream. Yay, they went away. So they didn't go away forever. Remember, they just come over here to this classwork tab, and they're going to see all of their assignments in one place. So back here in the stream totally does have a value. This is the general information that we want to share with our kiddos. So maybe I'm going to say I'm a science teacher, and I'm like, hey guys, the Houston Zoo is live streaming elephants today at 4. And then I might come here to add that link. And then I would post the assignment, or not the assignment, I would post that announcement to the stream. So again, this is just general information that the kids might be interested in, but they're going to use it right now, and they're probably not going to come back to this in 2 or 3 weeks. And so I always think of announcements as things I might be telling the kids when they're walking in the door of the classroom, or maybe like a little blurb I have on the board of my room. Classwork, that's work that I want the kids to complete and get turned in to me. So let's kind of continue down that road of students accessing their work. So we mentioned that a lot of times students are accessing their assignments via the stream or via email, sometimes that can be really problematic, especially depending on the device that they're on. If they're going in through the stream and they're trying to access their assignment, it doesn't always create the copy for them. It's imperative that they come over here to the classwork tab, they find their assignment, and that they click on it, view assignment here in classwork. This is going to help cut down on the kids telling you, hey, it didn't make a copy for me, or I can't view my assignment. Make sure that they are going through that path that we need them to go through. The other thing that we really want to make sure that we are addressing with kids is the portal. And so if the kids are not portaling through all the time, if they're just going to like classroom.google.com, like in their web browser, we want to steer them to the portal. And that is mynisd.nisd.net, just like it is for us. And we want them to portal through. This is going to cause the least amount of disruptions for them. And it's also going to give them the dashboard where they can access all of their G Suite things, as well as some of their textbooks. I don't have a textbook that's visible here, but any textbooks that the kids have access to, they have buttons for on the portal. So mynisd.nisd.net. Again, if you're having class meetings, if you're putting out bulletins or videos with kids, these are important things to cover. We want to make sure that they are going through the portal no matter how they are accessing your work, be that on a Chromebook or a laptop or however they are accessing, which we'll talk a little bit more about here a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the classroom view here. So I am in my sample Google Classroom and I am underneath the classwork piece. So we talked about turning off those notifications for putting classwork in the stream. The other notifications to be aware of that you can help manage, you can actually over here on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see the 3 bars. So I'll do that one more time. 3 bars, left-hand side of the screen, and it's going to give me a pop-out. So I can see all of my classes at a glance, and if I scroll to the very, very bottom down here, I'm all the way down at that menu, and there's a settings option. This is where you come, and this is where the kids come to get those email notifications. And you can turn it on. If I turn it on, then I get this whole other host of options. When do you want to receive those specific email notifications? So you can be really granular with this if you want. Maybe you don't want email notifications for comments on my post or comments that mention me, but maybe I do want email notifications for those private comments on assignments. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So again, just know that you can come here, you can go through all of these and turn them off and on. And again, this is all just, what do you want to see? How many notifications do you want to get? Or if you're like, I don't want email notifications, I'm going to be checking everything. And so I want to keep that out of my email. When I toggle that off, all the other options go away. When I toggle that on, then I can get all of the other options that are really granular. Okay, so we've talked about lots of notifications. We've talked about that stream piece. Let's talk about things that we are posting in Google Classroom. So I'm going to come over here, left-hand side of my screen, to the 3 bars. And I'm going to head back to my sample Google Classroom. And just kind of sidebar note, if you're like, oh, I really wish I could see what the students see in Google Classroom, get together with your grade level or your PLC. You can create your own sample classroom and then have your other teachers in the grade level or PLC join as students, and you can join as a student in their classroom. And that's going to allow everybody in your group to see the student view or the student side of things. And if you're like, oh, how would I do that? Definitely reach out to your coach, and we can help you get that set up, because it's just a really useful tool. Okay, so let's talk about in the classwork. I'm going to scroll up to the top. So just kind of a reminder from what you may have seen in the first Google Classroom training if you came. There are options here. Assignments are things that we want the kids to complete and turn into us. They may include an attachment like a Google Doc where they are going to respond. Quiz assignment, we're going to look at that in just a second. That can utilize Google Forms from right inside Classroom. The question feature, this is a single question that we can pose to the class. Think about this in terms of an entrance ticket or an exit ticket. What is the one thing that you need to know this week or today to really kind of help support your students? That materials post, this is like a reference document that you want the kids to utilize, but not necessarily complete. So this might be a chart, a graph, sentence stems, kind of all those reference pieces. And so that's your materials posts. And then the last thing there is reuse posts. You can reuse any previous posts that you have made. So let's talk about this assignment piece. So you're probably getting more comfortable with this, which is fantastic. Let's talk about what we are attaching right here. So I am going to say, oh, I have a document or a template that I want the kiddos to complete. We want to make sure that when we are attaching things here for kiddos to complete, that we are attaching the Google products. So you may have some really great PowerPoints, actual PowerPoints. Sometimes I know that that can be like a general term to describe things, kind of like, you know, Coke can represent all soda. Sometimes we say PowerPoint and we're talking about slideshows or other products. So specifically, I'm talking about a real PowerPoint maybe that you have created on the hard drive of your computer, and you are uploading that and you're wanting the kids to work in it. We want to make sure that we are converting those Microsoft products into Google products so that our kids will have ease of use when they are completing those things. So I'm going to switch my view right now. I'm going to jump over to Google Drive. So I have some documents here that I am going to be posting in my Google Classroom. So I want you to see that there is a difference in the type of documents that I have here. You're going to notice right here in document 2 on my screen that it's a blue square. That tells me it is a Google Doc. Over here, I'm going to see a blue square, but there is a W inside of it. That tells me it is a Word document. So I want to convert that and make sure that my kiddos are going to have access to the Google version for ease of use. So I'm going to open this. I'm going to tell it, hey, I need that to be a Google Doc. So I'm going to select the Google Docs button. And then you're going to notice that it becomes a docx, which will be an editable file for our kids. So you're going to notice my icon changed. It is now a doc. If I want to go one step further, I can come here to File, and I can tell it that I want it to save as a Google Doc. So you're going to notice that right up here, that docx suffix went away. This is a Word document. We know that this is a cloud-based version or a cloud-based platform. And so your students are going to be able to work inside this document, whether they're on a Mac or a desktop or a Chromebook or however they are accessing your work. So you're going to notice back here in my drive, I now have two versions of that document. So I have the Word doc. So here's that W right here. And then sample Word, that's my title. If I come right over here, I'm going to see sample Word. But now it is this blue icon. And I know that that is the Google Doc. Okay, so let's jump back over here to the Google Classroom. And I'm going to say, okay, now that I have converted that Microsoft product to the Google product, I'm ready to post it or attach it. Keep in mind, when I open my Google Drive from Google Classroom, it's going to open in Recents. But if you're like, oh, I really need to just be able to access my drive, I can come right here and click the My Drive piece, and that will give you your folder system. And this is the standard way we see Google Drive when we open it from the Drive button. So again, there's my W, and here is my Google Doc icon. So I want to make sure that I am adding that Google Doc version. Okay, so this was probably covered in your previous Google Classroom session, but I can't emphasize it enough because this is your one and only opportunity to make this change. And this is the drop down right here. The default is that the students can view the file. We want to make sure that we change this to make a copy for each student, which is the digital equivalent of handing out the document to each individual kiddo. So if you have kids responding to you, hey, I can't access that. Hey, I had to make a copy of that and change it up. What do I do? Double check and make sure that you have made a copy for each student. Unfortunately, if you don't do that in this moment when you are posting the assignment, you will have to delete the post and repost it. Just a reminder over here, you can post it to multiple classrooms by checking these boxes, or not and, or if you need to assign this to just specific students, you can come over here and you can uncheck the students that don't need to see that specific assignment. And then due date, remember due dates are optional. It can be a way to help students keep on track of what they need to turn in when, but just be really clear with your students that, you know, they can turn these things in after the due date. They are not going to be penalized. So again, if you have that running list of things you're going to add to the class meeting, that might be something that you want to touch on. If you are using due dates, hey guys, that's just to kind of help you time manage. And then, of course, we don't want to forget the topic. That's super important because we want to make sure that we are keeping our students' work organized. And then I'm going to assign it. It's going to take me back to that general classwork tab. And then I'm going to touch on one more thing. And again, I'm going to touch on this. I'm not going to drill really deep. I think a lot of the coaches are going to be offering a little bit deeper dive into the quiz assignment, but I do want you to know that this is here. So I hit the create button and then quiz assignment. So I do have to title it. So this might be daily check-in. And so you're going to notice that it already attached a blank Google form to this assignment for me. So to plug in my questions, I can just click on this blank quiz and it's going to open a Google form in a new tab for me. And so I might say daily check-in, Monday, April. Sorry, my weeks are all jumbled together. I think, is that everybody? I hope so. You can put additional directions here. That's up to you. It is optional. And then you would just go about building your Google form the way you normally would. How is your energy level today? And so depending on what type of question you type in right here, you're going to notice that this will kind of automatically select something for you. So I could do a linear scale or a Likert scale. I could also let them respond via short answer, via a paragraph if you think they're going to type longer text, multiple choice questions, check boxes. The real difference between multiple choice and multiple choice, they can pick one option. Check boxes, they can select all that apply. Drop downs are really useful if you need to have them indicate which class period they are in for you. And so they can just select from the drop down. Again, a linear scale, there are gridables. If there is just a date and a timestamp you want to create, you can do all of those things right here. So I'm going to leave it as the linear scale, and I'm going to say low to high. And then maybe I'm going to make that a required question. And then I can just keep adding my questions and build out my Google form. And keep in mind, I'm doing all of this right here from that Google Classroom link. I do want to make sure that I come over here to the gear wheel and that I always check this button that says collect the student email addresses. This is not defaulted on. And if you don't turn it on, the students are going to answer all the questions and you're not going to have that email stamp to know which kid completed which response. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to name my quiz, daily check-in, April 12th. And then it's going to feel really weird, but I promise it's okay. You're just going to hit the X button because Google Forms auto saves. Yay. Okay. And then again, I can assign this to multiple class periods or specific students if I want to. I can give it a due date again. I want to make sure, again, with every post that I am attaching it to a topic, and then I'm going to hit that assign button. So you're going to notice on those things, now for the week of the 8th, I have these other things that are starting to post and land here, which is really fantastic. So let's talk about those assignments. So I'm going to come up here and let's talk about private comments versus class comments, because we have heard a lot of questions about both of those things. How do students view them? Where do they access them? You might not even know that you can do class comments for an assignment, which is a really useful tool. So I have a sample Google Slides assignment here. So I'm going to click on the view assignment option. And I'm going to see the copy that was made for each individual student. And so when I do that, even if Elizabeth has started working on her assignment, but she has not turned it into me, I can open this for her and I can start leaving her some feedback. So over here on the left-hand side, or I'm sorry, on the right-hand side of the screen, I have the option for private comments. I really like the way you are organizing your presentation. And then I'm going to post. So on the student side of things, When Elizabeth comes in and she accesses this assignment, she will see on her screen her assignment. And when she opens it, instead of seeing that kind of toolbar that we saw on the right-hand side of the screen, she will see the option to turn it in. And below that, she will see all of those private comments posted there. And then depending on how she has her settings done, she will also receive an email notifying her that there is a private comment. However, maybe you want to put out a general statement for everybody, just a reminder, hey guys, don't forget to watch that video. It will help you complete this assignment. So you're going to notice right up here in the top of my screen, I'm on student work. But if I go just to the left of that to instructions, this is going to be the assignment that I have attached. And you're going to notice that I have this option here that says class comments. This comment will go to everybody in the class that has that assignment. Don't forget to watch the video before completing the task. And I'll hit the little button, and then that will go out and it becomes a class comment. Okay, so kind of last thing we would like for you guys to think about as you're thinking about posting your assignments and your kids interacting. I know a lot of campuses are doing work and kind of logging which kids are connecting and accessing the work. But we'd like for you to think about it kind of one step deeper. And that is asking students how they are accessing your work. And so you might do this through a Google form because it's going to allow you to ask multiple questions, kind of a device questionnaire. So asking the kids, what type of device do you use to complete your schoolwork? And we recommend getting really granular with this. Desktop or laptop, is it a Microsoft? Desktop or laptop, it's a Mac. Are they on an iPad? Are they on an Android tablet? Are they on an iPhone, on an Android phone? Oh, I didn't even put Chromebook on here. Sorry. I would definitely stay in Chromebook. And then leaving the other option. This can be really helpful if you are having to do some troubleshooting for them. You know, let's say 3 of your kids are on iPads and all 3 of them are like, I can't access my assignment. I don't see anything. Well, then you know to tell them to swipe up from the bottom of their screen when they have that assignment open to be able to access the attachments. It will also maybe help you identify maybe some trends and patterns. Like if you're posting something and everybody who's accessing it from an iPhone, it isn't working, then you'll kind of know where to start. Or if you're reaching out to your coach, you'll know to say, hey, I posted this video for my kids to watch and everybody on an Android phone can't view it. It can just be really helpful. Another question you might think about asking is, are you on a shared device? And then it might be just like a yes or a no, or you might get a little more specific. Yes, I share with my whole family. Yes, I share with my siblings. I have my own device. Okay. And again, this is just going to help paint a whole picture for you. How are they accessing your work? Maybe how much time do they have to themselves? If they are, yes, I am sharing with my whole family, you know, that could be mom and dad working from home using those devices. And then maybe after the workday, the kids are jumping on that same device. Again, we just really recommend getting that whole picture so that when you're doing some of those troubleshooting pieces or you're reaching out to your coach with some of those questions, you'll be able to say, hey, they're all on Android tablets and here's what we're seeing. Or, wow, Johnny isn't really turning anything in. Let me go see what kind of device access he has. Oh, yeah, he is sharing with his whole family. I can see how he might be struggling. Maybe I'm going to pare down the work for him, or just have a conversation with him about that. So we covered a lot of things in a short amount of time. So I see that there is a lot of stuff in the chat, and I'm going to kind of switch over now. I know that Anna has been running through the chat, which is fantastic. If you posted something in the chat and you're like, I'm still swirling around that, or I saw something today on the screen and I am going to need some additional help with that, that is definitely what your coach is there to help you with. And we want to work with you on that. And so be sure to reach out to them with any questions that you have. And I am going to post a link to the form for attendance. So give me just a second. I'm going to grab that here. This is going to be our attendance form for today. It is collecting your email address automatically. And then if you would also plug in the name of your campus, and if you would please use the short version. So if you're at Ross Middle School, instead of putting Saul Ross, if you would just put Ross. If you are at Folks, if you would please put Folks rather than John Folks Middle School, it will really help us with the sorting piece today. And I am going to grab this link. And I am going to, I guess maybe I'm not going to grab that link. I'm going to post the very long link in our chat. And so in the chat, on the left-hand side of the screen where you've been commenting, you can now access the link, and that will take you to the Google form, and that is the attendance piece for today. So I can see that there are still some questions happening over here in the chat. So because I recorded our session today, up there in the top corner, you see that record button. That is going to give us a video recording and a transcript of the chat today. So if there is anything that happened in the chat and you're like, I want to circle back to that, or I want to reread through that, you'll get access to both of those things today. Please make sure to complete that attendance form. Yes, the name of your school only. So I turned on collect your email addresses. So it's automatically going to name stamp that for me. And then on the name of your school, if you can just keep that abbreviated to what is usually, I think at the secondary level, it's all names. So instead of, John Paul Stevens, if you could just put Stevens, that will help us sort it on the back end. No worries, Emily. We'll get you taken care of. It's still going to stamp it for us. And the most important thing was just that we captured your email address. So that's it for our time today. Look, we finished with 1 minute to spare. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your coach. And then we'll use the Google form that you completed both for your attendance ERO and to email you the video and the transcript of today's session. Where is the form to fill out? Maria asked. Maria, if you will just scroll up a little ways in the chat, and you are going to see a link. It is in blue, Google form. So just scroll up that chat a little ways, and you will see that form there. I hope that these were all good tips. Thank you, Joan. I'm glad. You're welcome for the info, you guys. And again, we're going to continue to offer, more support, more sessions. And if you have something in mind, if you're kind of thinking about something, reach out to your coach and let them know that you have an idea for something. And with that, we're going to end our session today, and we'll see all of you guys soon.